So first of all, thank you, Dilip sir, for joining me. It's
Yeah,
my honor to have a conversation with you. So obviously, throughout your career, while playing and then post also, you have done a lot of things. Obviously, you were a player, a brilliant player, over 100 Test matches, 100 ODIs for India. Then after that, you also have your own academy as a coach. You've been a mentor, you've been a selector, but you've never commentated. So what's the reason you never were a commentator or didn't want to be a commentator?
yeah. To be honest with you, I was not attracted to that actually, because when I retired in 1992, I know I had decided to start cricket academy and wanted to give back to the game, and that's how I started my first cricket academy in 1995. So I didn't think about commentary, or going for the matches, and touring again. So I thought, I think, I would stay at home most of the time, um, and look after the administration of Mumbai Cricket Association also, because I was a vice president for almost 10 years of Mumbai Cricket Association. And then I started my first cricket academy in 1995. And then I started second one in Chembur, way back in 2004. And the third one in Chinswad in Pune in 2008. So I'll be starting my fourth one also, I think, very soon. So my idea was to give back to the game, and to give platform to young cricketers of Mumbai, and Maharashtra. And I'm very glad that many, over the years, that thousands of cricketers we have coached, at my three academies, and they have gone on to play for the state. They have played for India. They played for India under 19, India A teams. So that was my contribution to cricket. That is what actually I thought of first and foremost, and I'm continuing that.
And sir, you've mentioned in a lot of interviews that you consider yourself very lucky that you were from Mumbai and that you got a great learning when you were growing up playing cricket in Mumbai. What is it about Mumbai that makes so many great cricketers come out of there, especially batsmen? And now, even now, we see guys like Prithvi Shaw, Surya Kumar Yadav, now recently Shardul Thakur as well, who's so many great cricketers coming up from Mumbai. What is the reason behind it, in your opinion?
See, Mumbai cricket, we have got almost 340 clubs. And club cricket is very, very strong. And that is what offers opportunities to young cricketers of Mumbai. We have got 125 official tournaments of Mumbai Cricket Association. And we get excellent platform, young cricketers, because we have got inter-school tournament, inter-collegiate tournament, the inter-club tournament, inter-office tournament. So we get to play a lot of matches, and especially in club cricket. When I was young, at the age of 14, 15, I was playing club cricket, and I had the opportunity to play alongside the test cricketers and opposite test cricket as well, because those days they could come and play, in all the local tournaments, because there was not much international cricket those days.
Mhm.
So they opportunity, they had time to play. So that's how I think we learn from them. It's important that if you are playing at the top class cricketer, those who have played for India, those who play for Mumbai, I think you can learn from them on the spot. So that process was excellent in Mumbai, because we got lots of grounds, lots of tournaments, and playing alongside first class cricketers and test cricketers. That really helped us.
And so your academy, it goes beyond just taking cricketers in Mumbai and honing the technique there. I know that you do a yearly tour to England, where all your cricketers come and play. What is the reason behind that? Bringing those cricketers to England, what experience does that give them?
Well, I always believe, that I think every young cricketer must go abroad, especially England, because England you get a lot of experience, a lot of exposure also. Because English conditions are different, because Indian conditions are different, so they get experience of playing there. And many cricketers from academy that they come from humble background, so we get sponsors for them. I think everybody helps us to get those guys on board on the flight to England, and they get to play almost 10 matches in 14 days. So 10 matches, I think quite a lot, especially in Manchester. And RP Singh, I think, was a coach of under 19 Lancashire team. He organizes this tour because he knows a lot of club cricketers there, and the clubs also. So they have been kind enough to host us. And now we get to play a lot of good matches because English conditions, as I said, that it changes in every couple of hours. So you have to adapt to those conditions very quickly. Yeah, you have to perform. So how you adapt to these conditions and these players learn there. So this is a good it's a good process for them. They can learn from this. So it's a very good tour for young cricketers. And many cricketers who have toured along with our academy, they are playing for India now in IPL also. So I'm very glad that a lot of cricketers, those who've been touring with us, they got the opportunity to play at the highest level as well because they have grown now. But I've been organizing these tours for the under 16s, under 17, under 19s. So it really is very helpful and it gives them a lot of experience and exposure.
Yeah, and so exposure, obviously, in terms of playing technique is one thing, but also having the mental aspect of the game is another. How important is that for somebody to reach the top level, to be in control of the mindset towards while approaching a contest?
Well, this game is played all in mind, basically, and because if it's a skill level at the school level, they're all almost the same at the skill level. But those who are mentally tougher, they go on to play higher class of cricket. So it's very important to develop that aspect and that can be developed only by playing matches, only by guiding them at the matches, and match simulations. So these are the factors actually what we see at the academy, that they get mentally tougher and how to handle different situations, how to play against different bowlers, and how to adapt to different conditions. So these are the things that I think they learn very quickly. And that's what I think helps them when they play for Mumbai and for India.
And so obviously with IPL, you've been coaching for such a long time. You said you opened your first academy in 1995. With the IPL, have you noticed a change in the way kids approach cricket nowadays? Is there a change in mindset, the way when young kids come to the academy?
Yeah, definitely. Because especially I think more than kids, the parents have changed completely because their approach to the game has changed because they see the amount of money the IPL players earn from these matches for 8 weeks. So that is what they look forward to. But that is a wrong approach, I would say, because if you are a good test cricketer, then you can become a good T20 also. But T20 cricketer may not be a good test cricketer. Yeah. So I always tell them, I think test cricket is ultimate form of cricket because that's where the skill level, the mental aspect come to the fore. If you're good enough, I think if you're good enough to play at that level, then you can play any format of the game.
Sir, and with cricketers who are playing great T20 cricket, who are also playing Test cricket, for example, Virat Kohli, AB de Villiers, Chris Gayle, Rohit Sharma, who are all legends of this game. Sometimes do you think people forget that they're technically very sound cricketers because they are able to hit those runs at a quick pace? People sometimes forget that they're technically also quite brilliant.
Well, they're great players, and any great player of any era can become a great player of any era for that matter. Always believe that these guys are so good, and they are good in all formats of the game. It is important how you adapt to different formats of the game. And unless you have technique, unless you have skills, and unless you're mentally tougher, then only you can get this kind of success. I think what Virat and Rohit Sharma has got.
And so in terms of the IPL improving India's bench strength, nowadays we saw recently with Washington Sundar making his debut, Shardul Thakur, Ishan Kishan, Surya Kumar Yadav, all these guys coming through and just, taking to international cricket like fish to water. So how has IPL changed players' mindset going into international cricket directly from domestic cricket compared to how it was before?
See, IPL has given them great platform. If you see, they have been watched throughout the world. It's not only in India, but throughout the world. And IPL is a thing like almost 7 players play in a team, Indian players, and 4 from outstation players. But IPL has got, IPL has got tremendous competitive spirit also, and they get to learn a lot from those 4 or 5 great players who have been bought by the franchisee. because they get to share the same dressing room. They see them from the close quarters. They see they plan their innings, plan their matches, the work ethics. See all these kind of things and they get to rub shoulders with great players of the world, because IPL, if you see, I think all the best players in the world are playing. So obviously you have to raise your game also, you have to raise the standard of the game also, and that's how you learn very quickly from them.
And sir, like Virat Kohli is obviously considered one of the greatest in the modern era. You were the selector when he got picked in the Indian team. What did you see in him at the time to pick him straight out of under-19 cricket and into the senior team?
I think mental toughness, because I had gone to watch the emerging players tournament in Australia, and that was basically under 23 tournament. I think he was very young, 20 years old that time. He was a captain of under 19, which had won the World Cup in Malaysia. And India was playing, I think, as New Zealand, and New Zealand had some good test bowlers in the squad. And he opened the innings. They had scored some 230 runs. He opened the innings because Amre was a coach that time, and Amre said that I would like him to see opening the innings, so he gets to play more overs. And he scored 123 not out. I think he played brilliantly. He was very young, but it's a tremendous maturity and skills level, the technique, mental toughness, and the way he batted till India won. That was very, very important. So I thought that time that here's a boy I think should be groomed, and that's how we picked him on the tour of Sri Lanka.
And sir, did you ever imagine at that time how great a player he would become, or did you just see potential? Then it was on him to do what he did.
No, I just saw the potential, because I think even Sachin Tendulkar, when I picked him for the Bombay team, I just saw the potential. It's up to the person, because we are given chances to many cricketers, and not many become great cricketers, but they have done very well at the local, at the international level, but not great things as Virat and Sachin has done.
Yeah, and so what separates these great cricketers from others? Why do they manage to stay on top for so long? What is that factor that separates these cricketers?
Well, I think they're mentally tougher, because they handle tough situations very well. So that is very important when you play Test match cricket. Passion for the game and discipline also, and they're so focused. So these are the things which are very important for any young cricketer who intends to play for India or who hopes to play for India. And that discipline, determination, all those things are very important. Focus is important. Passion is important for the game. And work ethics, to work hard for the game, to work hard at the game, because there's a substitute for hard work. You don't look for shortcuts. And be consistent at the highest level, because consistency is what matters. You may score 100, double 100, and if you don't score in the next 6-7 innings, it has no meaning. Because I think these guys, these great players, are very consistent at the highest level.
San, you were also very consistent. You have 3 consecutive hundreds at Lords yourself, which is a record which still has not been broken. What was it about playing at Lords that suddenly brought out the best in you whenever you went there?
See, there are some grounds, I think you get good vibes, I think you get very positive vibes, so where you feel that you're going to score runs. And especially Lords is such a place where you heard so much, I think, youngster also, England-Australia matches, England-India matches, all those matches you have been listening at the radio basically. So everybody wants to play at the Lords. Everybody's ambition to play at the Lords, and I was no exception. But as you asked me this question, that there are some grounds where you get a good vibes, positive vibes, where you are going to score runs. So Lords is one of them, definitely, for me. And then for Firozshah Kotla, I scored 4 Test match hundreds also. So that was another ground which I had a good memories of.
So do you have the pitch, like a part of the pitch of both those grounds in your house somewhere, just as memory?
Yes, I do have actually, because the thing is that they had, I think, they had auction or they had sold, there's a part of the grass, in the scorebook, in the
Yeah.
scoreboard of that innings, which I have got. Rasing Dungarpur gave it to me because he was the manager on one of our tours, and he used to spend a lot of time at the Lords because he used to stay very close to Lords. So he would watch a lot of matches and he knew a lot of officials there. So he had bought that thing for me, and gave it to me. It's still there in my house, a patch of grass.
So, and obviously in your career, you have won so many trophies, including 1983 World Cup. Which which is that award that you hold dearest to your heart?
Well, World Cup final, I was injured. I think I couldn't play the
Yeah.
finals, not the finals, the last three matches, the quarterfinal, semi-final, final. Of course, it was a big achievement as far as the Indian team was concerned. But Tour of England was the one in '86 when I beat England 2-0, and I was man of the match and man of the series also. So that, I guess, was a big thing for me.
So, and in cricket, especially for batsmen, they say that when they are in the zone, they say when you're in form, they say you're in the zone. What is that feeling like when you go out to bat, when you're feeling confident? Why is it that there's only certain times that you go out feeling like today is my day?
Well, not the thing is that the initial few deliveries are very important. Of
Yeah.
course, you are tensed for before every match, and that's a good sign actually. You must get tensed before every match because every ball is very important at the test level. Everybody play at their best. I mean, there's no half volley or short ball given on platter. You have to convert those balls. But the initial deliveries, if you play well, if you stroke well, then you're confident that I think you might just play a long innings. And I think playing long innings is very important, and you have to develop that habit also. And I believe that I think from 2025 onwards, I think your best time starts because you're matured also. You're toed around. You scored runs also at a test match level. But after 25, you're at the peak.
And sir, you faced a lot of world-class bowlers in your time. Who was the toughest bowler or the most challenging bowler you faced in your time?
Well, at the test match level, all of them, to be honest with you, because they don't give you easy runs. And they have been outstanding throughout. Whatever I've seen, uh, those guys have been great. You know, the West Indies fast bowlers, Australian fast bowlers, English fast bowlers, I saw the great spinners, Indian spinners also. I saw the great spinners also. I saw the fast bowlers have been outstanding indeed. And it's very difficult to pinpoint just one or two because
Yeah.
they were all bowlers.
And sir, coming to 83, there obviously a movie coming out on the 1983 World Cup movie, on the World Cup win, sorry. Have you had a chance to watch the film yet?
No, actually, we haven't seen the completed version of it, but we have heard that it's a very well made film. I have I have not seen the process of making the film, but some of my colleagues they had gone to England to see the match practice, matches, the way they film those matches at the Lords also, and they were practicing I think Birmingham somewhere. But some of them did go there and visit the place. I didn't get a chance to go there, but having said that, I believe and I've heard it's a very well made film.
Yes, sir, I'm really looking forward to it coming out and watching it because obviously I wasn't alive to see it all happen. So the inside stories, I'm looking forward to it. But one of the inside stories I've heard is, and so you have to tell me this, is that at the time none of the players thought they could win the 1983 World Cup, and that some players had even put forward holidays, had booked holidays before the World Cup final, thinking we won't get there, and then they had to delay everything. Is that true?
Well, I don't know whether they booked the holidays, but the thing is that when we went there in 1983 for the World Cup as a team, we I think played three friendly games. Out of three, two games we lost. And not many gave us a chance, to win the World Cup. The odds were absolutely against us completely. But when we started winning the matches, especially the first match against West Indies, that we got the thing like we just might do very well because the teams were very good. Australia was good. England was very good. Um, Pakistan was good. And so West Indies was the best team in the world that time.
Yeah.
But the way we beat them in the West Indies, the first game itself, we thought that this team could be beaten. You put under pressure. Because under pressure, if you put the West Indians, then they were not at their best. But if you just let them go free, I mean, and they can clobber you. So the thing is that after we won the first match, we had a slight inclination that there might be an upset.
And so since then you've inspired, that victory has inspired a lot of cricketers to come up and take up the sport. So much like Sachin Tendulkar has said that 1983 World Cup inspired him to take up cricket. So thank you for that. And so moving forward into cricket today, the T20 World Cup is around the corner in September, October in India. And Virat Kohli has said that he would like to open the innings alongside Rohit Sharma. In your opinion, is that the right move for India going forward?
See, in this format, anybody can open or anybody can open to because as a spinners opening the attack also. So this is a very short format. In that short format, and how you bring the best in the team or best in the players is up to team management. So it's about team management because they are the best guys around. And think tank. Because if you got selectors, if you got captain, you got a vice captain, if you got coach around, so they know what is the best for the team. So whatever the best for the team, they will do it.
And sir, in your opinion, are India favorites for the T20 World Cup?
Absolutely, there's no question about it because India is doing extremely well in all formats of the game, and especially T20 because there's so much option now because the IPL has done a lot good for Indian cricket. It has given exposure, to a lot of good cricketers, and they have improved by leaps and bounds. So there's a lot of options also now for the Indian selectors to decide. So I think India definitely stands as favorite.
Sir, and obviously India also in the Test Championship final. But one thing, I was listening to IPL commentary the day before yesterday, and they were discussing all the good the T20 IPL has done for the Indian cricket. But Lakshman Sivaramakrishnan said that one thing he's worried about is the future of spinners in Test cricket coming out of India. He believes that bowlers are bowling a lot flatter and that it could affect long-term India spinners, the quality of Indian spinners coming through. Do you agree with that?
Well, as I said before, that you have to adapt very quickly. So even as spinners, we have to adapt very quickly because if you are playing in any format of the game, the main intention of a spinner should be to go for wickets. And how to go for wickets? I think spinning the ball, flattening the ball, and deceiving the batsman. So that art is very important, and that art has to be preserved. And if you are playing Test match cricket, I got different field setting. If you are playing ODIs, it's a different field setting, and also T20 also. But T20, I think you have to give spinners more scope. By making the ground slightly bigger, because the grounds are too small, the bats are very good, so they get clobbered, and that's not fair at all because it's a great art. And spinners can win you matches. Even in all formats of the game, even T20 matches. If you see the last match, that the spinner won the match for the for his Bangalore team, Shabad, what is his name? Yeah. So in 1 hour he turned the tide and he won the match. So spinners can play a very important role, but how they can adopt to different formats of the game, it's up to them. So that is a skill. That's what matters.
And sir, you have been a coach, a selector. To any kids watching, what is the one thing you would say a selector or coach is looking for from a young cricketer at 14, 15, 16 years of age who are just starting out and want to play cricket at a high level?
See, as I said, it's hard work. There's no substitute for hard work. And stay focused. That's very important. And discipline, determination, all those factors are very important. And you have to have passion for the game. The thing is that every match is important. And just concentrate on each and every inning, each and every match. Don't think I want to play for India or I want to play in IPL. Just go out there, just give off your best, enjoy yourself, and win matches for your team. That is the one. Because as a selector, and I see players who can win matches for the team. You may score 100, and I think if you end up in a losing side, it has no meaning for me. But if you score a good 60, 70, if you win the match for the team, that is what matters. So winning the matches is very important. So they must learn to win the matches and be consistent.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm sure wise words coming from someone who's won the Lifetime Achievement Award will be of great use to anybody listening, including myself. It's been a great learning experience. So thank you so much, sir, for taking some time out and talking to me. I really appreciate your time and I hope to see you soon.